Yes, sir, that's true.
That's true. Okay. So my name is Colonel Arpan Mukherjee. I'm here on an instructor posting to Workshop Training Institute. My job is to train the newcomers, the that is. And today we're going to discuss the career prospect in Indian Air Force. And thereafter, I would take questions from the students. Students, if you can hear me, I would like you to ask any question career related, not just Indian Air Force, anything that comes to your mind. And talk to you about two different topics which are very, very important for your career progression. So, Indian Air Force is the air arm of the Indian Defense Forces. So, I'll be asking you a few questions in the middle. I know all of you cannot answer, but I want you to think the answer. Okay, so just think how many arms are there in the Indian Defense Forces. So, I believe most of you are thinking it is three: Army and Air Force, but the actual answer is four. Even Coast Guard comes under the Indian Defense Forces. So Indian Air Force was formed on 8th October 1932 uh, of the Royal Air Force. Of course, back then we were not independent. We are under the British rule. And that is why 8th October is celebrated as the Air Force Day in in India. However, when India became a republic in 1950, the word royal was dropped and it became Indian Air Force. We have roughly 140,000 people. I mean, that's officer and men. And there is another stream called NC, non-combatants. The total strength is about 140,000. And we form the fourth largest air force in the world. Now let's discuss the career prospects. Now, as of now, since you're all in the 12th class, I must tell you that after 12th, there is a way to join Indian Air Force. And thereafter, after graduation and post-graduation, also you can join Indian Air Force and Indian Defense Force in general. However, for girls, the chance comes only after graduation. At least graduation is required for girls to join the Indian Defense Forces. So there are two types of commissions that are given by the Honorable President of India after you complete your training in the officer cadre. One is permanent commission, wherein you serve till the age of superannuation, which is minimum 57 as of now. If you get Air Marshal rank, it increases to 60. And the other type is short service commission, which is 10 years mandatory, followed by 4 years extension, which is given based on your performance previously and vacancies if available. There are total 7 branches in Indian Air Force. The flying branch, of course, where the pilots and navigators belong to. The technical branch, where the aeronautical engineers work. And the ground duty branches there are 5 branches under ground duty branches. So, as you can see in flying branch itself, there are 3 streams. The fighter stream, Ladakhu Viman as they call it, the transport stream, and the helicopter stream. Of late, India, the Honorable Prime Minister of India has given a big thrust on the Indianization of defense products. And LCA Tejas is the poster boy in that stream. Our second indigenous fighter aircraft, the first being HF-24 Marut. This is a 4.5 generation fighter. We have already inducted into service, and it is going to be the mainstay for many years to come. Thereafter, we have flying platforms from different countries, the Su-30 MKI from Russia, the Jaguars, which is an Anglo-French fighter. Again, MiG-29 and MiG-21. MiG-21, of course, has a great history. It has been part of 1965 onwards, every war that India has fought with Pakistan. MiG-21 has been a very important part of the Indian defense and offense. MiG-29 is also a Russian aircraft. This is Mirage 2000, based on which our newest aircraft, Rafale, is made. They come from the same company called Dassault. Then we have the American aircrafts in the transport stream, the C-17 Globemaster, the Russian IL-76. Now, the dome that you see on top of this aircraft is actually a radar. So this is called an advanced warning and control system, an eye in the sky. That means you can actually see 400 kilometers from the sky wherever this aircraft is flying. Then we have the Embraer VVIP aircraft called the Vayudoot, which carries the Prime Minister, Vice President, and the Vice President and the President to other countries. That's why it's called Vayudoot. Again, made in India, advanced light helicopter called Dhruv. You must identify this aircraft. It's the American Apache Longbow. This is a fighter helicopter or attack helicopter as it is called, American again. And the other addition being Chinook medium lift or heavy lift helicopters. So Indian Air Force has been undergoing modernization at a very, very fast rate. And the times are actually exciting because if you read news, you must have heard in the last 1 month, we have tested around 8 missiles. The DRDO has been testing regularly. Just 3 days back, there was a test from the naval ship. The test was for BrahMos supersonic missile, the fastest missile in the world. Now, let's take up the eligibility criteria branch-wise. For men, you can join Indian Air Force immediately after your 12th. That is through the National Defense Academy. Exams are conducted twice a year. There are 2 intakes every year. Age limit is 16.5 to 19 years. That means you get roughly 3 chances, 3 to 4 chances easily. But you must have physics and mathematics in your 10+2. And the reason is that through NDA, you can get into flying branch. Earlier, it was flying branch only, but from the last 1 or 2 times, they have started taking limited vacancy for ground duties as well. But as of now, 10+2 physics and mathematics is mandatory. It is a 3-year training at National Defense Academy that is in Pune. And of course, there is no stipend or salary given during this time. But yes, all-round development takes place at the end of 3 years of training, which is a very rigorous and difficult training. They make a man out of boy, as they say. At the same time, after 3 years, you are given a degree from the Jawaharlal Nehru University, JNU, that is BSc Computer Science. So you become a graduate also. So the minimum qualification that is required to be an officer in Indian Armed Forces is graduation. And that is when NDA, you are made a graduate before you join the further academies. The exam is conducted by UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. The exam is, I won't say difficult, but is of good standard. And the question paper is set as per the CBSE pattern of syllabus. So you people are studying in the CBSE pattern. The exam consists of 2 subjects. One is mathematics and one is general ability, under which English, your current affairs, logical reasoning, a little bit of military information as well is asked. For 900 marks is the total, and it's a 2.5 hours examination. Now here I would like to ask, how many of you read newspapers? I'm sure all of you have got a smartphone since you have come to, I see there are 79 people who are attending my lecture. See, students, wherever you go, your knowledge about the current affairs will hold you in high state. If you want respect in the outer world, you should be well informed and well read. So if you are doing your curriculum properly, along with reading some good books, of course, you can be well read, but you can be well informed only if you keep a tab on what is happening in the world around. So newspaper is just an option now. In our times, newspaper used to be the main thing. But now all of you having smartphone, you have got free access to good quality information and news. So by news, I do not mean the news that is projected by some debates that happen at 9 o'clock in the night. That is not news, that is noise. But when I say news, that means information from the source. So identifying the source is very important. Only then you can be well informed. Otherwise, you will be waylaid. Now moving on, So as I said, after 12th, only men can, boys can join Indian Air Force through National Defense Academy. It is the bigger vacancy is in flying branch. However, from the last 2 times, they have started taking from the ground duty branches as well. We will see what are the ground duty branches. Now, after graduation, there are 3 ways to get in. The first one is again conducted by the UPSC. It is called Combined Defense Services Examination. Qualification is again graduation with minimum of 60% cumulative. If it is BTech, whether it's BSc, it has to be 60% marks cumulative. Along with 10+2, you should have physics and mathematics with 50% as minimum marks. The age limit is 20 to 24 years. During my time, it used to be up to 22. They have increased it lately. Only open for male for Indian Air Force. However, female candidates can appear. However, they can only go to the Officers Training Academy. That is in Chennai. It's for Indian Army. The training through CDS will be 1.5 years at the Air Force Academy, which is in Dundigal, Hyderabad. And the exam is again conducted twice a year. This exam is of a little difficult standard. I must tell you, I have written it. It is little difficult. So preparation is mandatory. This is followed by the, okay, before I come to this, I would like to cover the NCC entry. Now, those of you who have a NCC Air Wing certificate during your graduation, when you earn it, without writing any exam, you can directly apply through your CO, the commanding officer of the NCC, and you need not write any examination. You will get a direct call for SSB. SSB stands for Service Selection Board. Now, these are institutes which take the interviews and do the selection for officers cadets. I mean, selection for officers cadre. Again, you can see the requirement remains the same. Graduate in any discipline with minimum 60% marks, and 10+2 should have maths and physics with 50% minimum. Now, these 3 entries will give you permanent commission. NDA, CDS, and NCC entry will give male candidates permanent commission, while for short service commission, and apart from flying branch, all other branches can enter Indian Air Force through Air Force Common Admission Test. Again, it is conducted twice a year. There are 2 entries taken into Indian Air Force Academy every year. Qualification for flying branch remains the same. Age limit remains the same, 20 to 24. And however, if you go through AFCAT in flying branch, you will get only short service commission. So the other 3 give you permanent commission. However, AFCAT for flying branch for male candidates gives only short service commission. Next, technical branch. As I told you, there are 7 branches in total. The first one was flying branch, followed by the aeronautical engineering branch or the technical branch. Aeronautical engineers are divided into 2 streams. One is the electronics and one is the mechanical. And let's have a look what is required. Of course, since it's a technical branch, you mandatorily need BTech or BE or MTech if you study, go for your post-graduation. 60% marks is mandatory across the board in your graduation. And however, for this, you need 10+2 maths and physics again, because obviously, if you have science in your 12th only, then you can go for BTech. The training is for 1.5 years. Here onwards, both men and women are eligible for applying. Even for AFCAT flying branch, the women candidates are eligible. So women can get into Indian Air Force only through AFCAT. And as of now, they get only short service commission. However, the Honorable Prime Minister of India has told the 3 forces to look try to give permanent commission to women. That happens after you complete your initial engagement of 14 years. A lot of lady officers have actually got PC in Indian Air Force. I know quite a few. So age limit for all ground duty branches is 20 to 26 years. And the initial ab initio training takes place in Air Force Academy, Dundigal. Now, one thing to note here, as I told you, AFCAT gives only short service commission to flying branch officers. However, for all other branches, since AFCAT is the only way to get in, both PC and SSC is available. Okay. Coming to ground duty branch, there are 5 branches. First one is administration. As the name suggests, job is also administration, but this is divided into 3 sub branches. One is air traffic controller, second one is fighter controller, and third one is pure administrative branch, which looks after the administration, HR, infrastructure, maintenance, these aspects. Now, if I have to give you an example, if you must have all heard about Wing Commander Abhinandan Vartaman. He is the man who was flying the aircraft, but there was a lady fighter controller named squadron leader Minty Agarwal. She was the one who was guiding him towards the enemy aircraft. Okay, the fighter controllers basically guide the fighters towards their targets. In plain words, if I have to explain you. While air traffic controllers control the movement of aircrafts in and around the airbase. Like we have Air Force Station Tambaram, it's a flying base. So we have air traffic controllers here, but not fighter controllers. Next one is logistics, which looks after the procurement and supply for the entire base. The accounts department looks after the accounting, salary, allowances, loans, and etc. While meteorology is responsible for looking after the weather. Now, weather plays a very important role in flying. It is one of the deciding factor whether an aircraft will fly or not. And followed by education branch, from which both I belong, and as well as the squadron leader Joseph also belongs to this branch. The primary job of education branch is to ensure continuity of education for both Air Force personnel and their wards. For example, we have our own schools who's in charge, like Commander Joseph is the Executive Director of Air Force Schools, Tambaram. So our job is to do licensing and tie-up and train newcomers. As I said, any civilian who joins Indian Air Force first undergoes basic training, which is done by us. So that includes academics, PT parade, games, firing, camping, and there are many other things. So these are largely the 7 branches of Indian Air Force. Now, I must also tell you there is an 8th branch. It is called the medical branch. Now, those of you who have taken biology and wish to become doctors, through NEET, National Entrance Eligibility Test for medical, I don't remember the full form, you can join the Armed Forces Medical College, that is in Pune. And once you complete your MBBS from there, you can join either Army, Navy, or Air Force as an officer. And there is a 9th branch which you cannot join directly. It is called the Navigators branch. People who go into flying branch, based on their performance in flying, the streams are further divided into flying pilot and flying navigator. Now, what does a navigator do? As the word suggests, they become weapon system operator. For example, in the Sukhoi 30 aircraft, there are 2 pilots which are required. The front one is actually a pilot. The second one can either be a pilot or a navigator. So the second pilot or navigator looks after the weapon system of the aircraft. Then, ground duty branch, common for all, age limit 20 to 26 years age, applicable for both male and female. Both PC and SSC are granted to male candidates, but females as of now get only short service commission. As I said, 1 year training, twice a year the exams are conducted, and twice a year the intakes are taken. That's in the month of Jan and in the month of July. Okay, so broadly, what is the selection process? You have to write at least one exam out of this, whether it is UPSC for NDA or CDS or AFCAT. Of course, if you don't want to write any exam, you get a NCC certificate and you directly get SSB call. Again, that's only for flying though. And after you clear these examinations, you are called for something called the Service Selection Board interview. It is a 5-day process. It is designed based on a phrase from the Gita. It's called Mansa, Vacha and Karmana. Okay. Mansa means mind, Vacha means speech, and Karmana means deed. So basically, Service Selection Board tests whether as a person, what you think is what you say and what you do. Whether there is coherence between your thinking, your speech, and your doing. The first stage is a psychological test, and followed by an interview, and then you get to play some lovely games with people on the ground. How I came to Air Force, I must tell you that after I completed my master's, one of my friends from graduation who had joined Indian Air Force, he had told me that Zindagi mein ek baar SSB zarur jana. It's once in a lifetime experience. So I had actually gone first time to SSB for experiencing. However, I did not make it through. Because I did not make it through, I took it as a challenge, and then seriously I went for the second time. I was through. And I had scored 220 out of 300, which was the, I must say, was the highest mark in that AFCAT. So AFCAT exam is comparatively easy, but of course, if you prepare, everything is easy. Otherwise, nothing is as easy. You always have competition. You can clear the test, but coming into the merit list is very important. Now let's come to the process. After you clear the Service Selection Board, which is a 5-day process, you will be subjected to something called Pilot Aptitude Battery Test in case you are going into flying branch. Now this test is also conducted for NDA and CDS. If you want to be a pilot, you have to go through once in a lifetime test called Pilot Aptitude Battery Test. If you clear it, you can be a pilot. If you don't, then you are not fit to be a pilot. And for engineering branch, you need to undergo another exam called Engineering Knowledge Test, EKT. That happens during the AFCAT itself. Once your SSB is cleared, you are asked to give a priority list. For example, which branch you would like to choose. Then there is number 2, number 3, number 4. Once you give that, thereafter you are sent for the medical examination where you undergo a full body medical checkup. I'm sure none of you has undergone because at this age nobody does. But this test thoroughly tests you, on everything, right from your bone structure to hearing, your sight. There is ECG, your heart is tested. Then there is EEG. After this, if you clear the medical exam, the merit list is prepared, which is based on your graduation marks, your performance in AFCAT and EKT, then your performance at Service Selection Board, and vacancy wise, branch wise, you are allotted a branch and then you're invited to join Indian Air Force. This is how you do it. Now, what does IF give you? As it says, a life larger than life. In Air Force, we have a saying that Indian Air Force is a way of life. Why is it a way of life? Because in the civil world, when you imagine work, you only imagine a workplace where you go and work, come home. Sometimes you have parties. But in Indian Air Force, you are made to get up early, do exercise, run, play games, work, have parties. All these are part of everyday life. And that is why it's called a way of life. And not just this, let's see what else it gives you. So you become a gazetted officer, class A, at par with IAS, IPS, IFS. It gives you furnished accommodation. Like right now, I'm sitting in my room. Okay, I can't show you, not in a great state. Pre-medical cover for yourself and your dependents. It covers your life as well in case of any mishap. As you see, rupees 85 lakh for flying branch and 75 lakh for the other branch officers. Because obviously in flying, you risk your life more. Then you have the canteen facilities. Those who are from the defense background would know the importance of canteen facilities. And you get concessional tickets for travel by air and rail as well. Then there are loans. Okay, for me, the most appealing thing is the number of days of leave that is available in a year. Officers enjoy 80 days of leave in a year. Okay, nowhere else you get this. In case you want to study, you're a permanent commission, you get up to 2 years study leave for pursuing a higher academic qualification. Apart from that, of course, you have got schools for the education of your children. This is the promotion format. You start off as a flying officer after you get commissioned. The commission is bestowed upon you by the Honorable President of India. You will have a written appointment letter from him. I can promise you that. You start off as flying officer, serve for 2 years. You are promoted to the rank of flight lieutenant. In army, it is the equivalent to lieutenant and captain. And after further 4 years, that is 6 years in total, you become a squadron leader. So I'm a squadron leader now. I got promoted last December after 6 years of service. And thereafter, after 13 years of service in total, you become a wing commander. Now, the rank of wing commander is quite well known now, thanks to Wing Commander Vartaman. Everybody in the market knows who is a wing commander, but very few people know who is a squadron leader and a flight lieutenant. Nonetheless, but up to the rank of group captain, you will definitely get promoted. Thereafter, it's vacancy versus your performance. Now, some of the adventures that you can experience free of cost in Indian Air Force. First is of course, para jumping. We have a very famous para jumping team called Akash Ganga. Okay, it performs almost on all Air Force occasions. They jump from 5,000 feet and parachute down like this in formation. Then you have river rafting, scuba diving, parasailing. You normally see parasailing in the seas, but this is how we do it in Indian Air Force. Rock climbing, cycle expeditions. This is the list of the total, air activities, land activities, and sea activities. Just have a look. I have done a few adventure activities out of this. Okay, before I go on to a very short part later on, I want to take questions from the part that I have covered. Any of you has any doubt regarding the thing that I covered, please switch on your mic and ask. I will be glad to clear.
Yes, students, you can ask the questions.
So I'll just recap quickly. You can stop me if you have a question. After 12, that is now, only people with maths and physics in 12th can actually join Indian Air Force. That is through National Defense Academy. You need to have maths and physics, as I said, and you need to write a UPSC exam, go to SSB, clear the medical, and feature in the merit list. However, from last time onwards, they are also taking in ground branches. You will get a graduation degree after 3 years. Thereafter, you go to Air Force Academy. And all of you after graduation are eligible, including the female candidates, to join any of the branches. For male candidates, it is CDS exam for flying branch. And for female and male candidates, other branches, it is through Air Force Common Admission Test. The conditions keep changing from entry to entry. Therefore, you should always refer the last notification that has come. So whatever I told you is based on the last notification of all these examinations. And I told you about the facilities, the live. If you want to know about something in specific about aircrafts, you feel free to ask. You are lucky that you have internet nowadays. During our time, it used to be, difficult to find information. There are also books based on which you can prepare of Arihant publication, some an author named R.K. Agarwal. So you can take.
Sir?
Yeah.
So for this engineering branch, do we need to graduate first, or can we graduate through the Air Force as well?
Yeah, good question. You can appear in all these examinations in the final year itself. You don't have to complete. So just to give you an example,
Final year of graduation. So we need to graduate first.
no, if you're in the final year of graduation,
Okay, I got it.
you can write the very first exam that comes your way. So that immediately after graduation, you can immediately join the next course without wasting any time. Like you are in 12th right now, so you can immediately write ND exam.
Got it. Thank you for serving.
Okay, sir, after 12th itself, they can write the ND exam, or in
During
their
12th.
final year?
In their final, yes, they are right now eligible. Those who are in 12th class are eligible to write the NDA exam. At the time of joining, they have to produce at least the provisional certificate that they have cleared the exam. I mean 12th.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Any other question? So I'll wait for 30 seconds for any question. I'll move on to a very short but important part. This is not ideally a part of a motivational lecture, but I would like to cover it because you people are going to be the mainstay of the country.
Sir, the SCAT exam you are telling, it's temporary for both male or female, or it's only temporary for females?
Which exam?
SCAT you said, no, the after graduation.
AFCAT is applicable for both male and female candidates.
So is it like that?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, how to prepare for the group discussion, sir?
Okay, that's very good question. Group discussion is basically normally for 5 to 10 minutes. There will be an officer sitting to monitor the discussion. There will be 10 people in a group, and a topic will be given from the current affairs. Definitely current affairs, nothing else. That is why I say read newspaper. Now, normally what happens is we think that whenever a topic is given, the person who speaks first and speaks most gets selected. That is a wrong notion. The first thing is how to prepare for group discussion. The best way to prepare is being current on current affairs. That is reading news daily, the right kind of news. You have to be well informed about your present and also to an extent about the defense news, whatever is going on in the Indian defense. For example, if you go for a group discussion now, the topic will most likely be on China or China and Pakistan, something like that. Of course, when you go after 12, the topic will not be of such high level, but after graduation, definitely you will have topics from this kind of thing. So when you are sitting in a group discussion, always remember 5 to 10 minutes is a lot of time. All 10 members can have at least 1 minute to speak. But what people do is they start making noise, a lot of noise. Everybody wants to speak over each other. In any group discussion, they are testing your teamwork skill. It is not just your knowledge. They will see how you're conducting yourself. They will also see how you are speaking, whether you are making noise and not letting anyone speak. Like my personal experience, I'll tell you, the first attempt when I did not get through SSB, I had spoken nothing. There was chaos. People were shouting, standing up. Then the interviewing officer stopped and asked me, why are you not speaking? I just said, sir, I can also add to the noise. That's all I had said. I was the only one selected in that group. Okay, I don't know how it happened, but it happened. In the second one, however, before I knew my team, I told everybody, please make sure that you give 1 minute each to each person to speak. Because what happens when there's a lot of noise for 5-6 minutes, they wash out the entire batch. So you must make sure that you allow others to speak, you coordinate the event, and in 1 or 2 lines, you're able to give the meaning. In the second one, I spoke just 2 lines and I was selected. So it is not how much you speak that matters. It is what you speak and how you speak that matters. Sir, Mr. Srinivas, I believe, I will come to this part. The next topic is that whatever you asked, I'll be explaining in detail.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
For FCAT, by giving FCAT, we are permanently commissioned or it's like temporary commission?
If you are going into flying branch through AFCAT, you will definitely be short service commission. However, all other branches of Indian Air Force, you will be eligible for both PC and SSC.
So
Okay.
what is actually short service commission? What do you
Short
mean by?
service commission is, see, the thing is, since we are a fighting force, so the maximum strength of the fighting force has to be kept young. At the same time, we need experienced people to lead. That is why the concept of short service commission was brought. That if everyone gets in through vacancy and serves till 60 years of age, we will have a very old, the age limit will be much higher, the average age. So in short service commission, you are given commission, you serve for 10 years. Thereafter, you are given a choice whether you would like to continue for another 4 years or retire. Once you give your choice, they can either, suppose you say, I want to continue. So based on your performance and number of vacancies available, basically based on merit, you might either get it or you may not get it. At the same time, if you say, I want to leave after 10 years, you might again get to leave or you may not get to leave if there is a requirement. For example, right now the China issue is on, we need officers. So some people are not getting, those who want to leave, they are not getting released. So it's a variable, depends when you are there. Any other question?
Okay.
Okay. Any other question? Ask me at the end. 2 short topics I need to cover.
Sir, we have one question in the chat window. Which high post is equal to IAS in Indian Air Force?
All of it.
Okay.
I am right now equivalent to Superintendent of Police or DM. Okay. IAS is class 1 gazetted officer. We are also class 1 gazetted officer. It's just that media gives more, considers IAS as more powerful, which they are. They have a larger area of jurisdiction, definitely. But there is no difference actually if you go the hierarchy. Okay. I'll move on. Can anyone tell me what are soft skills? What do you understand by soft skills? Okay, it's difficult this way, I understand. Basically, soft skills is nothing but the way you work. Now, this consists of a lot of things. You must have heard about surveys which says that only 20% of the engineers that are qualifying in this year are fit to be employed. Okay, why is it so? Because what you gain by having an engineer, that's a degree, it's called a hard skill. It's a certification that you have a skill. But how do you present the knowledge in the work and do the work is what is classified as soft skills. These are the things that normally come under soft skill. Okay, it is basically your outlook, your attitude, your personality, how you manage time, how you network. Network means interpersonal skills. How are you at teamwork? Whether you're positive, whether you're good at solving problems, that is conflict resolution, whether you are balanced as an individual. Normally what happens, we always go after, the bookish study, gaining knowledge, but most of us don't know how to present. So you are at the right juncture of your life. You are going to start your graduation soon. I would request you, start working on your soft skills. How do you start? Number 1, read newspaper. Answer to all your problems is read newspaper. When you read newspaper or news in general, your general knowledge will increase. It will have a direct bearing on your personality. Number 2, improve your language skills. I'm sure most of you should be good in English, but when it comes to speaking and presentation, most of you will have mother tongue influence. One can make out, ladka Bihari hai, ki Keralite hai, ki Marathi hai. So this is the time when you start working on your language skills and make sure that nobody should be able to guess which part of India you belong to. If you speak a language, you should speak it in a way it is supposed to be. Try to learn a foreign language. German and French is quite sought after. Chinese also is not a bad idea. Okay. Then most of us at that your age wear very loose clothes. Fittings are quite loose. Okay. Focus on that. I'm not saying increase your fashion sense, but yes, you should know the right combination, the right way to wear. Learn to wear shoes. Maximum लोग चप्पल में घूमते हैं. It's comfortable. Learn to wear shoes. That also matters. Adds to your personality. And yes, the other important part is I will come to next. So improvement in soft skills. Last topic, narrative. What is a narrative? Can anyone define? 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would have loved.
Objective.
Yeah.
An objective, sir.
Narrative and objective. Narrative is actually a line of thought. It's a story. Okay. Just for an example, if I ask you to imagine who is the best teacher in the school, you will have a name in your mind. Now, how do you know she is the best teacher in school? Is it just by hearing, or it is also by experience? That is, you must have sat in the teacher's class, or you have known that teacher to be good. I'm sure you must have been at the source, or you must have experienced. Okay. But if I want to make a teacher bad in the school, I will start making a false narrative. Okay, I will say, okay, this teacher is very bad at teaching. She does not listen to the students. She does this, she does that. And I will create a picture in the mind of the student that this particular teacher is not good. Okay, it is called a false narrative. Now, before I go to the main reason why I'm covering this, let me ask you, what is the biggest strength of a country? Can anyone tell me?
The people, sir.
Exactly. Very first talk. The biggest strength of a country is its people, because it's the people that makes a country. So that is why, what is the best way to destroy a country? Question is,
Dividing the people, sir.
yes, dividing the people. If you destroy the belief in the people towards its country and its government and its constitution, it is the cheapest, the fastest way to destroy a country. Now, India is slated to be a superpower. No one can stop it. But you know that a lot of countries are not liking it. So when you open the news channel, you will see nothing but false narrative. Okay. There is an event. There is a positive narrative. There is a false narrative. You don't know which one to take, and then you get confused. That is why the source from which you take the information is very, very important. Do not listen to what the news media says. Listen to what constitutional appointments say. Now, how do the news media negate constitutional appointments? You will see whenever a constitutional appointment, be it the prime minister or say foreign minister or someone below says something, the first thing that they say is कि ये झूठ बोल रहा है. So they have already negated the effect of a constitutional appointment. Thereafter, they start building the false narrative कि ये इसलिए बोल रहा है क्योंकि इनको ये करना है, इसने पैसे खाया है, इसने ये फंस जाएगा. Some nonsense. Okay, that is why you should listen to the fact, not the opinion. My sincere advice to you is, do not watch India Today, Republic, NDTV. Watch DD News. Apart from DD News, watch WION, WION. And गलती से भी हिंदी न्यूज चैनल नहीं देखना. Okay, your mind will be spoiled. You will not be able to make the right perspective about things, because when you go for group discussion or interview, they check your perspective. And if you start talking about your perspective, which is formed based on Republic News or India Today, you will be out of the interview. The interviewer will only give you a smile, will behave nicely with you, but when the result will come, you will not feature on the merit list. I can promise you that. Okay, that is why 3 to 4 years you have in your life, provided you're not joining NDA. NDA mein to yaar sab sikha denge, don't worry. Okay. But if you're not joining NDA, and the girls especially who cannot join NDA, by the way, for girls, the proposal is under consideration for NDA. It should come up in another 1 or 2 years, maybe before. They're thinking about taking girls also in NDA. So you have got 3 to 4 years wherein you do graduation, enough time to read correct news, learn the right languages, and work on your soft skills and be a better personality. It is very, very important. So what is false narrative? It is basically molding the thinking pattern of the people. In the olden days, there was no social media, no internet. It was more difficult to do it. But today on social media, you can create a free account and write what not. Okay. And then how do you make yourself popular? You will collect people who are of your perspective. You'll ask them to like your post, and a third person will think, oh my God, this post has got so many likes, that means it must be correct. That is how you spread the false narrative. You take it forward. Electronic and print media is also to a large extent responsible for it, but since it is regulated, the extent is quite low. The youth today spends a lot of time on smartphones. Am I right? I'm sure PUBG has been banned, but a lot of people used to play. What does a game like PUBG do for India? It destroys the productive time of the youth. The time when you're supposed to study or do something good, you're playing PUBG. You also play during your resting time. You sleep late. So what happens? You don't get enough rest. Next day morning, you are not productive. So these are actually attempts to destroy the effectiveness of the youth of India. It also creates frustration, anti-national sentiments. First, they will make you useless, and then they'll tell you, oh my God, your country is not doing anything for yourself. Okay. And you will become a part of the herd of sheep, and you'll think, look, government is not doing anything. Therefore, it is extremely important that you identify the false narrative. You can do that only if you get the right news from the right source and filter out the opinion. Okay. So some of the examples, you see, very recently this photo had come up. When the Chinese aggression was on, that a Mi-17 helicopter has crashed in Ladakh. Okay. There is ice in the background. Okay. There are Kashmiri type people standing, but this picture is from 2018, not from this year. Okay. So another, what does it say? Very shocked news. During an exercise, Rafale has crashed near Ambala. Pilot has died. Now, how can you identify this is false? You see, this Indian Air Force and this IAF_MCC is actually the correct handle. This is a legitimate handle, but they have copy pasted it. But look at the quality of language. Very shocked news. These kind of activities are carried out by very low mentality people. I mean, low in skills and aptitude. So they have the very low level of English knowledge. So very shocked news. Okay. One more example. It says that February 14th, 26th, the Pulwama happened, right? 27th, the Pakistani aircraft had come towards India, and there was an air dogfight. And this says that the air officer commanding in chief of Western Command, which is responsible for that area, was sacked because of bad performance of India. The truth is, in any case on 20th February, this man was retiring. So when he actually retired, they made this into a fake news. During this lockdown, when the migrant laborers were walking back to their villages, a lot of false narrative was put forward, even photographs. If you remember, there was a photograph wherein an Air Force chopper was throwing flowers on the migrant laborers walking on the road. Those were two different photographs, photoshopped. we know how to identify a photoshopped this thing, but normal people don't. They think, "Ki, how can Indian Air Force be so what you say? I mean, emotion wise, how can they be so low? People are walking on the road and they are throwing flowers on them." So you need to identify the false narrative. Okay, so only listen to what the Prime Minister says. Remember, the government of India and Constitution, it's a fundamental duty to trust. Reason being, it has got the mandate of the majority of people of India. They are the constitutional authority to do something for the country. No one else can do anything. So you will start voting soon, I'm sure, by the time next election comes. Exercise your voting option and put your trust on government of India and the constitution. People above are much more qualified than you. You can never identify what is good, what is bad. Just put a trust. With this, I am done. Okay. I wanted to discuss this because for this particular 5 years, fake narrative is working big time. So I just don't want you to fall a victim to it. So any questions, I would be glad to discuss or answer.
Sir, there is one question in the chat window. Why is the service duration for female less than that of male? Angel Grace is asking.
Yeah. Thank you, Angel, for the question. I would ask this to, this is a government of India policy. In 1993, the first batch of women were taken. Before that, they were not taken at all. The policy is like that. I cannot answer why it is so. But as I told you, the Honorable Prime Minister of India has given 3-4 important directions. First one is to include women in the combat stream. And you must know that we have got lady fighter pilots now. What you wouldn't know is, because the media doesn't tell you, that after the first 3 lady fighter pilots, Avni Chaturvedi, Mohana Singh, and I don't remember the third girl's name, there have been 6 more who have been taken. It's just that media did not find it worth showing on national television. So as of today, as per my knowledge, there are 9 fighter pilots from women. I think the number may be higher now because 2 more intakes have gone. So things are changing. The second decision that the Prime Minister has given is that permanent commission should be extended to women who are interested. That is based on, again, vacancy and merit. So it is coming. We are changing. By the time you join, I'm sure a lot of changes would have come.
Okay, any other question from the students? Yes, Krishna Kumar.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. This was a very unique experience for me. I'm normally used to seeing people in the front, see their faces and understand what they're understanding, what they're not. But here I can see myself. So throughout the time, is there any way commerce students? Of course they can. There is a branch specific to commerce, accounts branch. You can also join administration branch. You can also join logistic branch. For education and metrology, post-graduation is mandatory. So after your commerce degree, you can go ahead and do a master's and you can join that also because, yeah, that's what I'm saying. See, if you see the eligibility criteria, except flying and technical, it says graduate in any discipline. Any discipline, arts, science, or commerce, any discipline. See, what I would advise is keep following the notifications every year. You will know what changes are coming. Okay, sometime during my time, most of the branches were very specific about the streams. Now it has become any discipline. So they have widened the base. So similarly, if you keep following, the data keeps getting updated and they start allowing more and more qualification. Yeah. Tell me one thing. If somebody asks, why do you want to join Indian Air Force? What would you answer? Anyone?
Adventurous life.
Okay, adventurous life. Most of you normally answer that we want to serve the country. There will be a difference in stipend. No. During the training time, the stipend is 56,100 per year. Okay. And the starting salary is around 56 plus, around 75,000 per month. So the stipend is 56,000 per month. After you become an officer, your salary will start from around 75 to 80,000 per month. Okay. So 6 years back, I started at 65,000 per month. Today it is 75 or 78,000 per month. So you see, in 6 years, that much jump has taken place. Yeah, so I was saying, when somebody asks you why do you want to join Indian Air Force, most people at your age say we want to serve the country. So let me tell you something. Every law-abiding citizen who is doing his job sincerely is serving the country. Okay, your teachers are serving the country. Even the safai wala who cleans your classroom is serving the country. Okay, and even you students, if you do your studies properly and do justice, you are also serving the country, because your education is heavily subsidized from the money of the government, which they earn from the taxes paid by me, even your teachers who are teaching you, your parents. So if you do justice to your education, that is also serving the country. So learn to give equal importance to every citizen of the world, rather. Okay, everybody is important. You must have seen that advertisement on the manual scavenging by the Tata Group, I believe. Usme the daughter of the
Yes,
manual
sir.
scavenger says, "मेरे पापा देश चलाते हैं." Absolutely correct. Okay, if our parents do not go to office one day, nothing will happen. But if the manual scavengers don't work for a day, your life will become hell. So normally the media, social media teaches us to feel superior. But you can be superior not by feeling, you have to be superior by your knowledge and deed. Okay? Never look down upon others. Everybody is important. Yeah. So if somebody asks you, why do you want to join Indian Air Force? Find your own answer, because I was not asked. It's a very difficult question. This, why do you want to join? Your strengths and weaknesses. These three were the most difficult questions I found, to answer actually. Because meri marzi, I want to join Indian Air Force because I want to join Indian Air Force. Who are you to ask? Normally that's how we say. And one more advice. When somebody asks you what is your weakness, never say things like, I am very emotional, I find it difficult to take decision, then I find it difficult to talk in a group. Remember, in an interview, the only person from whom the interviewer can know about you is you. So if you yourself tell the interviewer, look, I am an idiot, don't take me, then obviously you are not making any case for yourself. Okay? My weakness is straightforwardness. Okay, that was what I wrote. I never wrote things like I wake up late at, I can't get up. Should we tell weaknesses? Good question. Now we feel na at your age that, अरे यार weakness कैसे नहीं होगा यार, मैं तो महापुरुष हो गया फिर से. What is a weakness? A weakness is a thing that stops you from progressing in life. ठीक है? For example, you get up at 7 o'clock. I think the school starts at 8:30 or so. You get up at 6 o'clock every day, do some exercise, do a little bit of studies. But on Sundays, you get up at 10 o'clock. Is that a weakness? It is not a weakness. Okay. But if you, when during exam, you don't study. If you don't study, you just can't study. Something is, like I had a habit of calling up my friend and asking, kahan tak hua? If he was behind me in covering the syllabus, I used to be so happy. But if somebody said कि भाई मेरा तो दूसरा revision चल रहा है, why my BP used to go really low. ये क्या हो गया? Okay, I know the same thing must be happening with some of you. So weakness is something that stops you from progressing in life. Okay. Otherwise, it is not a weakness. Number one. Number two, if you know your weakness and 3 to 4 years later, you still say it in the interview, that means you have done nothing about it. If you have a weakness, you have to work on it. You have to get over it. And end of graduation is the ideal time by which you become mature enough to identify your weakness. You have the time to work on it and you get out of it. ठीक है ना? आज जो आपका वीकनेस आपको लगेगा, आप मुझे पता है ग्रेजुएशन के बाद में ना फॉर्म में भी वही लिख रहे होगे कि मेरा वीकनेस ये है, मैं इमोशनल हो जाता हूँ, ठीक है, मुझे लोग जोर से कुछ बोल देते तो मैं रो पड़ता हूँ, समथिंग सम नॉनसेंस पीपल राइट. So as an interviewer, when I read ki acha, this person cannot stand a group, he cannot talk in a group, he feels emotionless or emotionally threatened. Why should I take such a person? Yaar? In any interview, what they see is as a raw material how good you are and how much training can be given to you, whether the finished product can be what they want. This is the idea of having an interview. Okay. Should we make interviewer focus more on our strength? Absolutely. Good question. If you have the capability, you can lead an interview. You can lead it in a way that you can make that person ask exactly the questions that you want him to. Okay. For example, I had written my weakness as straightforwardness, because of which the interviewer was very angry with me. He was like, how can straightforwardness be a weakness? It is a strength. I had planted that word intentionally because I knew he will ask a question on that. And the answer that I gave was something else. I got a clap from the interviewer because I planted that. Okay. This is also a skill. Whether you lead an interview or lie in an interview and you still convince an interviewer, this is a skill. This is an employable skill. If you can really do that, people in the front will be happy कि चलो इसने मुझे उल्लू बनाया और मैं उसको कुछ पकड़ नहीं पाया. ठीक है? Because remember, he will not call up your friends, he will not call up your parents, he will not call up your teachers. Whatever he'll know about you, he'll know it from you and whatever you have written. Okay? Yeah, good questions are coming now. See, in a 1-year training time, intellect cannot be made. Okay? But physique can be made, I promise you. One day before joining Air Force, I could not run half kilometer. 1 week after joining Air Force, I was running 5 kilometers every day. Okay? Physique is absolutely mental. Physique part will be taken care of, don't worry. You should not doubt yourself. Okay, I was physically very weak before I joined training because I never played. I played, but I was not into exercise and all. So the interviewer did ask me that your performance in the physicals is much less than your peers. So I said, sir, I think there's enough time to make it up, and that is why you have the training. So luckily I got selected. Okay, interview. People normally like it when interviews go on for a long time. 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Average interview time in SSB is 50 minutes. For some, it goes on for 1.5 hours. And then they come out with a very, सीना चौड़ा करके यार आज तो मैंने सब कुछ बोल दिया, selection हो जाएगा, but नहीं होता है. The one in which I got selected, the interview ran for 8 minutes, 8 minutes. Okay. That means the interviewer basically looks for few things. As fast as you can give it to him, the interview is over. Don't try to talk too many things, bad about others, negative things. That only spoils your case, I promise you. Okay? GTO is ground testing officer. In GT, as I said, Karmana means you get to play some sports with a team on the ground. You're given certain tasks, you need to perform it. It's basically a game. And GTO tests you. There's an officer there who tests you on that. Okay, note down a website that I had referred during this thing. It is called ssbinterviewtips.com. ssbinterviewtips.com. It has got all the information that you need. You can refer that. It's a good website. We have extended, we have stretched the time too far. So let's wrap up. Any other question? Last question? That's it. Thank you so much. It was really lovely. I would have loved a face-to-face conversation, but yeah, thank you so much. 79 people were there when we started. It's 63 right now. Should we be grateful or accept the idea thrown to us? I can recall my days at your age. See, if you are well informed, you will know the answer to your question. Okay, number one. Number two, if someone gives you a better idea or answer, accept it, acknowledge it. Okay, in a group discussion, you can always refer to someone else's say. See, I think that there are chess numbers in SSB. Okay, number 1, 2. You can refer. I really like the idea of chess number 4. He said so and so, and I think, then add on. That shows mutual respect, your maturity. ऐसा नहीं किसी और ने कुछ अच्छा बोल दिया आपसे तो आप सुनोगे भी नहीं और acknowledge भी नहीं करोगे. But remember, the interviewer sitting there has registered his line. So if you acknowledge that person's line as a good line, it will make a good impression about you on the interview. Okay. Do not give undue importance to yourself. Right now, you are nobody. You are a student and you are nobody. Your job is to do justice to your studies. Enjoy your life, definitely. खेलना भी है, कूदना भी है, 2-4 क्लास बंक भी मारना है, acceptable limit में. Okay. साइकिलिंग भी करनी है, बाइक चलाना सीखना है, सब कुछ करना है, but only after doing justice to your studies. Okay. And never disrespect your teachers. You will know, the importance of these days. 5 years, just I can give you in writing, 5 years from today, you will realize the importance of today in your life and the people around you. Okay, I think it's time to wrap up. I would love to come back to clear your doubts. I think this is the new normal. This is the way we're going to meet. If the school opens up, I would love to be there. So, ma'am, I'm done.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, that was a huge package of information. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of our principal, ma'am, though she's here only, but she is actually in the other meeting also. She is present in both the meetings. One regional office is having one meeting. So on behalf of her also, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank the nominee chairman, sir, for giving this valuable opportunity for the children, and would like to hear from him as well what he needs to say to the children, if he can speak for 1 minute or something like that. I think he has.
No, ma'am. Good evening, I'm here only. Continue.
Okay. Sir, if you want to say something to the students.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yes, sir, please.
Ma'am, first of am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Ma'am, first of all, let me thank the principal, Madam Sirik Mary, the vice principal, and you, the PGT Computer Science, Mrs. Kiran Chauhan, for giving us an opportunity. You have took a lot of effort in providing this platform to us. Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you so much for
the pleasure was mine, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. We will have more sessions maybe later. And I thank the Scholar Arpan for clearing all the doubts raised by the students in a very convincing way. Thank you so much, Scholar Arpan. You have done very nicely, and I strongly feel the students have already cleared off their doubts. In case of any doubt, you can feel free to ask us. You may come there whenever this lockdown are eased, or we can have in the WhatsApp also. We can clear all those minor doubts. Whenever the notification is released by NDA or the batch, that will definitely intimate. As computer teacher or PGT, you can just pass the information to all the students using your internet platform, or maybe Google Meet or your WhatsApp groups,
yes, sir,
so that maximum students can benefit of this advertisement whenever it comes back. And once again, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to interact with the young minds. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. At last, I would like to thank the Air Force Station Tamram, the 2 squadron leaders. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for providing such an important program. Even I was not aware of many things. I will definitely tell the other students also, the coming batch, and I will make them informed about these things, these way of entrance in Air Force. And my father was also in Air Force, so I'm glad to be a part of this program. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all students for joining this meeting. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And one last thing, the KV is the best. Okay,
Yes,
once a
definitely.
KVN, always a KVN.
Yes,
Okay.
I am also a KV student, sir. Definitely,
Okay.
we all KVNs are rocking in whatever
Right.
way we can. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
I think
Thank you.
children, you can leave.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
can
much.
end this meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
हाँ ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It was very nice program.
Yes, ma'am.
Myself also.
I also
Nice.
liked it because so many things, no, I was not aware of these things.
Yeah. And also he was narrated everything very nicely.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yes, very clearly, very nicely. Very good.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, all teachers.
Then everything
Thank
is
you,
recorded.
class teachers. Yes, ma'am. Everything recorded.
Okay, if any students are required, that one we can give it.